Ken Hinkley, all your staff are Gen Y. How do you manage them so well?
Gosh, I don't think they're that much different. I think everyone wants to make them be different because they're Gen Y, or they're called Gen Y. I think they're like all of us. They just like some honesty. They like some real clear direction, and we try to give them that. And when we give them that with honesty together, I think they accept it pretty well. And I think they handle it better than people give them credit for.
Because most bosses say, oh, they take it personally. They don't take criticism well. They don't take direction well. They want to get somewhere too far, too fast.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what people say about it, but that's not. I don't think that's quite correct. I think they know where they want to go. I think that's the mix-up message. I reckon people don't. They know exactly where they want to get to, and they are in a hurry to get there. But if you give them the direction, and as I said, you give them that honesty, they're prepared to be a bit patient with you. As long as they know. I think importantly, you have to show them you care, and once you show them you care, they'll actually come with you, and they'll stick with you, I reckon.
What about the messaging, the way you message to Gen Ys as distinct to an older generation? You've got senior players there, very junior players, what, from 30 odd down to 18. How do you do it differently?
Oh, I think they're at different. When they're at different stages in their career, they do need a little bit of difference. You know, there's not long to go for some, and there's an incredible long time for others, and they're all trying to achieve certain things, and they've got different levels that they're trying to get to. You know, Dom Kochie, he's got a couple of years left in his football career. He wants to get the most out of that from a team point of view. When you go back to the young boys at 18, you know, Ollie and Sam Colquhoun, the 18-year-olds, they've got so much more that they're still looking for individually, I reckon, because they're just making a start. So you have to make sure they understand that what they can do. Look, I always work with, if they know their role, they're prepared to play their role, and then they accept their role, they'll all manage that okay, but they have to have that clarity of what that role is.
How do you direct your management team, your executive team, which are the other coaches, on how they present to Gen Y staff? A lot of planning goes into that?
Yeah, there does. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And as you said before, the individuals are a bit different, so you have to be able to understand each of the individuals. And those coaches, my coaches, need to make sure that they have a real clear, I think I think the most important thing is their relationship. They have to understand the individuals and how they're going to get the best results from them. And we give them that opportunity to know the player. Then when they deliver a message or need them to get the clear message, they're able to give them that pretty clearly, and then they'll actually work with you, I think, pretty well.
But you test the players on the messages you get through, and if the results aren't very good, you don't blame the players, you blame the coaches.
Yeah, well, that's our fault. We're trying to educate them, and if we're not giving them the information right, they're all pretty smart. Gen Y are pretty smart. You know, they're much more educated than any of the people in the past. So they come through, they have an education. It must be our teaching skills that are letting them down if they're not getting the messages right. So we do. We test them, we accept them and see what their results are. And if their results are not right, we're teaching wrong because we get the messages through to them the way we need to. They can't get that wrong.
That is a great message for business though, isn't it? Because business executives and managers, if Gen Y doesn't get it right, they'll blame Gen Y. They never look at themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. It's a good message for anyone in anything you do. You know, you've got to make sure the message is clear and don't go thinking that it's wrong over the other side when it might be right in your own home that you've got to get right.
Before a game, you work the whiteboard, and on that whiteboard are probably only 3 or 4 clear messages. Is that one of the other keys as well? Don't confuse, don't overcomplicate, understand exactly what you want.
Don't clutter. That's what we talk about with the coaches. We don't want to clutter their minds. You know, they're going out there and they're going to get belted. They're going to get put in positions that they don't want to be in. We can't expect them to be thinking of all this other stuff that's going on. There's some fundamentals of the game that we need them to do well. And if we declutter their minds, we give them the best chance to play to their best ability. And that's what the board's about. It's about making sure, boys, we talk behaviours all the time. If you do A, B and C well, you're actually going to get the outcome you deserve.
Yeah. Which is no different to a Gen Y on a shop floor dealing with an angry client or dealing with something out of the blue. It translates easily.
Yeah, it does. You know, well, otherwise you stand there and you're in a situation that you don't want to be in and it's uncomfortable. Make it simple, make it clear, and then you can all move on.
Okay. How do you encourage them to take risks? You know, Ollie Wines,
yeah,
taking that snap out of a pack. 18-year-old kid from Echuca.
I think probably one of my strengths is that I encourage them to be themselves, and they're prepared to go there. I don't ever, at any stage, if I was to react poorly to a mistake from a risk, that would be poor on my behalf, because I'm asking them, we've got to play brave. We've got to use the ball and be really brave and committed to that. And then if they make a mistake, and I'm going to go off, that's just going to shut that down. If I shut that down, I don't think I've shut that down once for the year. I've actually explained the situation, the decision that was made. Perhaps the decision wasn't right, but I'm never going to tell you not to be brave.
Another player, a Chad Wingard, mercurial, you don't know what he's going to do, often breaks the mould, you encourage it.
Yeah, you've got to have freedom. I mean, you've got to have freedom to play this game. You've got to be able to do it. I do it with Westy too, you know, Justin Westhoff. We allow Westy to go play the game of football, put yourself in a position you need to put yourself in to influence the game for us. That's the freedom that they play best under. That's the freedom that Chad plays best under. I didn't set him up in the showdown to go be standing out in front of that goal and wait for Gus Monfils to centre the ball there and then to fly in front of 3 blokes. I said, if you can win the ball, Chad, go and win the ball. That's what we encourage them to do. That's what they have to do. That's their skill. That's their talent. That's what they've got. We shouldn't try and stop that.
Yep, but so many in business will say, you conform to us, you do exactly what we say, you don't have the freedom to think for yourself. That's a mistake for this generation.
That's the Gen Y mistake. You've got to let them be themselves a little bit, and you know, they're all different. They all have different things. You know, and having worked with lots of boys in football, you know that they react differently. Chad loves the opportunity to go and stand up when it really counts, and some other boys don't quite like that. They'll just do the rock solid stuff. They'll tackle hard. They'll be doing all the simple things. They'll block for a teammate. Chad will actually go and try and win it for the team, and that's what he believes. That's what he loves doing, and the other boys love it the other way. So you bring them all together, and as I said before, you know your role and you play your role. If you accept your role, we'll be okay.
Right. Okay. In terms of a work ethic, the other big criticism of Gen Y is they don't work hard enough. They want a whole lot for nothing. Have you found that?
No, I find the opposite in this industry. I mean, we expect them to do so much, you know, and we push them. We expect them to live different lives because of their role model situation, and that's good. They should accept that. But we do push them incredibly hard, and we ask them to do some really crazy things, and they do it. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But what I will say is that when it's their time for rest, they'll want to take that. You know, they look forward to their rest, and they'll give you everything they've got, but if you tell them there's an hour off later on, they want their hour off, which is fair enough. I think we all like that. We all like our time away.
You've been renowned right through the game of changing a culture almost overnight. Give us the tips on the keys to that. How did you do it?
I think it's honesty. I think the thing, look, coming from my background and being at Geelong and seeing a culture change there, and the competitiveness and the ruthlessness of that group is what you need to have. But that comes from real honesty, and that was the thing that we learnt, I reckon, back there a long time ago. So I bring that and I apply that with everywhere I go. If I walk in and can be, you know, really honest, and look, I work on the small things. If you do the little things well and you're prepared to do them every day of the week, the culture will change every minute of every day of the week. That's what happens. But if you're prepared to skip over one of them and you're prepared to turn a blind eye to one of them, you're not going to affect culture the way you want it. Culture is changed over a consistent time of consistent behaviour, and that's what we have to do, and that's what we do here. So we now believe, and our players will talk all the time about doing the little things well and doing the right thing. That's a simple message. If you do that and you run your life that way, you get a result.
And leadership groups, how important are they?
Although they're important, look, they're really important to sell my message, because that's who they're going to listen most to. They're going to listen to their teammates, you know, and they are important. But I say to our leadership group all the time, their most important time is to lead on game day. We expect that from them on game day, to be committed to the team. They do that really well. I think, have to set the agenda most of the time through the week with the other stuff, as I just talked about, the little thing stuff, and then they'll run with me. If they see results, they'll come with you. Gen Y will come with you with results. There's no doubt about that.
Right, so you've got to deliver as a manager for them to deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. We work with them, and if you work against them, you'll get nowhere. If you work with them, you'll get everywhere.
Beauty. All right, mate, thank you for that.
Thanks.